Welcome to Be a Better Marketer, the podcast where top marketing minds share the latest trends, strategies, and real-world tips to help you grow your business and sharpen your skills. Whether you're a pro or just getting started, this is your edge in the marketing world.
Welcome to Be a Better Marketer podcast. I'm your host, Daniel Rosenstein. Today, I have the honor of interviewing Bess McCarty. Bess, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Daniel. I love what you do. Thank you for your work.
Well, I'm so excited for you to be here. Can you maybe share with the audience a little bit about yourself, like who you are and what you do from a business marketing perspective?
Yes, I've done a lot of marketing in my decades. I have been a network marketer a long time ago in my 20s. I was exposed to a wonderful nutritional supplement that I really believed in, and it's no longer in existence now, but it was the world's first vitamin mineral herb supplement. I thought, oh, this is so important for health. And I love health, and eating healthy and feeling good. And so I became a distributor of it just because I wanted to get it out. But I also found I could make a living with it too. So I did that, made a full-time living with it for several years. Then it did eventually go out of business. I found myself really drawn to personal growth and became a coach. And so I've been doing that for over 35 years now, being a coach. And guess what? That takes marketing too, not just coaching. So I've learned just internet marketing in and out, and all kinds of, and share the difference between, for between coaching and network marketing. So I've done both of those.
Wonderful. So, thank you for telling us how you got into network marketing. How did it really change your life though? Was the supplements taking, did you really feel like those nutritional supplements really impact positively your health?
Oh yeah. Because we can't get at least I believe, can't get all the vitamins, minerals we need from our food. It's too much. The food is denatured, the soil is denatured nowadays, and the stress and pollution and everything have increased. So I believe that supplementation is necessary. And that product did help me, and it helped so many people. In fact, that's what, got me to do it, because I was a real shy kid as a child. I was so shy that I would hide out in my room when company would come over, because I guess I felt like they would judge me or criticize me, or I wasn't good enough, or they'd find something wrong with me. It was fear of being judged or criticized. And so I went from that to going door to door and speaking on stages and leading teams and network marketing and everything. How I did that was focusing on the people who needed it. There was a lady, I went door to door in my neighborhood, and there was a lady who got over her hot flashes by using the product. Other people had other results. So that's what got me out there, is focusing on the other people rather than myself, because shyness and fear is selfish. It's focusing on us. And it was a good exercise for me to learn to focus on other people. When I was a teenager, I read a 17 magazine, said, if you're at a dance and you're talking to a guy and you're feeling shy, it's me. It says, focus on him. Become interested in him. Ask him questions about himself. And I thought, that applies to sales too, right? If we focus on the other person, what they're needing, what we're really there for, takes the tension off ourselves. So I figured there's either service or there's fear, shyness, fear of rejection and all that. What will people think of me, especially in network marketing, or due to some things, it's been given a bad name because some people think they need to push or think they need to overpromise, and we don't need to do that. But that's why it's got somewhat of a bad rep sometimes. So I was a little scared of that bad reputation, but I focused on service.
So I met a lot of people, have strong beliefs about MLM and network marketing on both sides. Some people love it, some people don't. What do you think a lot of people get wrong or misunderstand about network marketing?
That you don't push it on people. You don't promise the world. It's not a get rich quick scheme. That's probably the worst thing that people promise. They think, oh, I need to distributors. Nobody's going to, join my team or buy my product unless they promise in the world that they can get rich quickly. And you certainly can in network. You can get rich, but not quickly. It'll take several years to make 6 or 7 figures. But you keep planting the seeds consistently. That's what the successful people have done. And they've just stayed with it. And some people for decades, and they're making incredible residual income that they couldn't have done otherwise.
Well, you created the MLM or Millionaire Academy. Can you explain to our audience, like, what is that academy and what was your vision behind it?
Sure. It ran for several years. It's quiet now as I've gone more into the coaching everybody rather than just network marketers. But it was a school, an academy to teach the mindset, the right ways. And Jeff Gamble eventually joined me in that academy. And through his influence, we brought in John Maxwell's leadership books, which is beautiful about mindset. So we did that for the mindset part and the favor script that Jeff actually brought in. I learned that from him, and we wanted to teach that in the school. So that would be the skills part, how to market most easily for new people that's very duplicatable. Would you like to hear what that is? The favor?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so this is the best tip I could give network marketers as far as skills, is this favor script. And it says, it's simply, it always gets a yes. That's why it's in my Always Get a Yes book. It's very simply a way to tell people what you do and always get a yes to it. So what you can say to someone is, hey, Larry, I wonder if I could ask you a favor. And he says, what's that? Say, I wonder if I could let you know what I do in case you run across people that I can help with it. And that never gets a no, because if they're your friend, they want to help you or they're curious about what you're doing now. And so then you prepare 5 or 10 minutes to tell them about your product or your service and your business that can also come with it. And then you can say, do you know who might be interested in, this health product or whatever it is, or making some extra money? And so Larry might likely think of someone, but very likely you might say, I'm interested in that. I'd like to know more. So if you approach Larry head on and say, I want to, I have this product and I have this business, I think this could be for you. People naturally put up a defense, when it's about them. But if it's about somebody that they might know that you can help, they listen. Their ears and their eyes are more open-minded. That's why it opens minds, it opens doors. And so more people get to hear about your business. And sometimes people say, I know somebody, or I know, 5 people, or I'm interested. And that happens a lot. Like one lady told 19 people said yes to her. 2 of those signed up as a rep in her company, and she got 1 referral from that. Another statistic is this other guy did 4 of those presentations, and 3 became reps and 1 a customer. So this is what this is so easy because you don't get a no. And people have been able to be successful with that script when they haven't been with others. It's the best I've ever seen. So that's the heart of the skills of what we taught in the academy. And that's contained in my Always Get a Yes book. The rest of the book is about empathy. First, it will show the favor script. And the rest of the book is about how to close a sale. That is to give people plenty of empathy for any problems they have. Like first you start out like say you're in a waiting line at a restaurant or something like that, and you start chatting with the family next to you. And the man says, I say, I just got back from the Caribbean or something like that. And he goes, we're so sad. We can't afford to go on a vacation this year. And so your technique is to ask enough questions till you hear a need that you can solve. And so you might say, give us some empathy. Wow, was that disappointing for your family? Yeah, it was, Did it take some adjustment to not go on a vacation this year? And what do you think that you're missing by that? Family time or memories or whatever. And when you've asked enough questions and given enough empathy, then might be the time to offer a solution. Would you like to hear how we were able to go on ours? I have this little side business and it completely paid for the whole thing. And so what you do is you make sure that you can lead a horse to water. We can't make him drink. So make sure that the horse is thirsty. Go for a little run first, and then the horse will drink. But you have to bring the question. In other words, they will listen if they're hungry or thirsty for the answer. So first you have to bring up the question, with their plenty of empathy for the problem they just mentioned. Give them plenty of empathy for that. Ask if they'd like a solution. That's what the Always Get a Yes book's about. And it's not, $30 book. It's a $17 book that people can get on my website, or they can get the free favor script. And if they go to my name, bessmccarty.com/yes, you can get the free script and you can get that inexpensive book. If you're a network marketer or any salesperson, this is the best skill set I could give you.
So why is the Always Get a Yes method so effective in prospecting for getting new clients?
Because that wall isn't up, that door is open, because it's about you as a friend telling your friend what you do in case they know somebody that you can help. So it's not about them. That's why the door is open, because now they're listening as somebody that they could refer to, thinking if they could refer somebody to you. And of course, they include themselves in that. Would I be interested? That's a natural thing. So it's sort of an oblique, gentle way to be heard. And they hear you better than if, Larry, I'm going to tell you about this thing I have and these ingredients, and this is what it costs.
So do you have separate marketing strategies for network marketing and coaching, or is it use the same strategies for both?
It's kind of the same. For network marketers, I recommend check if your company has certain tools like videos and stuff that they would like you to use, and certain steps that they would like you to take a person through. Once you do, use a favor script with anybody, and once they go, yeah, I'm interested, then you can see if your company has certain things that they want you to, they've pre-approved and given you to use to make it easy for you. If they don't, you can prepare your own little presentation with your sponsor that you can use over and over again that describes your products or your service and your business. For both, I think I would recommend that you have an email service. Like I like AWeber a lot, been with them for many years, and that you be able to stay in touch with people that you have in your prospect file. You can occasionally send them health tips or something like that by email. And that way you can stay in touch. And they call it drift marketing, where you're continually in touch with people, giving them things that can benefit their life. If they're interested in health, maybe one day they'd like to do your product and do your business or something. So you can drip for them about health and about your business, both. And I would recommend Zoom for both network marketers and coaches, because you can then educate people about your business, product, service. And that can all be included in the email service. You can use your email service to occasionally hold a Zoom class, or to give away a free gift or something that can lead people to get onto your email list. But I want to put out a warning here. I do not recommend internet marketing funnels for really anybody, because, especially network marketers, because they're expensive, they're time consuming, they're complicated, and you'll distract yourself with that rather than in doing the favor script and telling people about your business. I think you'll get more traction from that. But some people think, I've got to do this fancy thing and pay $3,000 to learn this course, to have a funnel like everybody else is doing out there, and hold master classes. And I don't think you need to do that. I think that would pull you off track and be a waste of your money. So Bess McCarty's opinion and warning about that.
So what's one common sales objection you often hear from people, from potential prospects? And how do you teach people to overcome that objection?
Okay. Both the network marketing and coaching don't have the money. So I worked with a coach the other day and we role played because I like to train coaches. And like I did network marketers, and we role played the selling skills. And so I pretended that I was this coach's prospect. And I said to her, "Oh, that's a great program and everything, group coaching program, but I don't have the money." And she began getting a little bit defensive and started defending the price. What's this price? Because this takes me this long to put on the class and all this stuff. And I said, no. First of all, when you get an objection about anything, but money's the biggest one, then what you can do is validate that person. Say, yeah, a lot of people feel that way, or I hear that a lot. Yeah, I understand that. So first you validate them and give them some empathy about that. Make that right. It's okay for them to say that to you because you want to hear what's on their mind. And then you can find a solution. Like what this woman did with me, instead of coaching once a week, she said, how about if we coach every other week? Then it would be half the price. I said, okay, I can do that. That's her prospect role play. And so instead of trying to defend, she focused on validating me. And then my need was for her services, but I couldn't afford it. So she found a solution all by herself. She offered that solution. How about half of that? We can go half as fast. I said, great, can do that. A network marketer could do the same thing. If somebody wants their product but can't afford it, then as a network marketer, you could suggest to them, if you sign up as a distributor and you get 3 people to buy your product, that would pay for yours. So you find a solution. So, and that could be all sorts of other solutions too, like they could sell some, treasures in their garage and make the money to buy the starter kit. They could do a side gig and get the money to get the starter kit. All sorts of solutions, but money's never the real problem. It's usually a problem of commitment. What they're really saying is, I don't value that enough to pay that money. When they go on a vacation or eat out every other night or something like that, they could cut expenses to get the money, but people can always get the money. So it's more like finding out underneath it. And one technique is to say, if money was not an issue, would you go ahead and do it? So that's another way to get underneath and see if there's other issues there.
Now, I love network marketing and in coaching. There's people making high earners, like 6 figures, even 7 figures. But there's a lot of people go into coaching or in network marketing and, they're in it for a month or two and they quit. What do you think the attributes are for the people really successful in coaching market from a business perspective versus the people who just like jump in and then, a few months later, they're already doing something else?
Great. You said it. It's that consistency and the longevity together. So it's doing consistent small steps. Every successful person will tell you that it wasn't a big jump. And one man said, it took me 16 years to become an overnight success. Meaning it might look like that last thing just catapulted him. And so why isn't it happening for me too? It did for him. How come it did for me? And so those are kind of false expectations or false pictures they might show people if they don't admit it took me 16 years of trial and error, quitting and coming back, recommitting and all that stuff. So the quickest way is to take small, consistent steps every day or every week toward building your business, whether it's coaching or network marketing, and to never give up and to hold a positive thought, because you've heard the only failure is giving up, right? If you don't give up, you can't fail. And you can learn from people who've done what you want to do. So you can be humble and be willing to be coached and learn the skills, ask somebody to practice with you, keep a positive mindset. And that's what else I help people with is I work out 80% of success is mindset, and I have something for them for that too.
So and you're saying that like one key differentiator for people being successful, the people who are successful have either a coach or mentor who kind of give them tips or training to get them to like the next level.
Yeah, coach will always, I say, coach gets you there faster, easier, better, and farther. than you could alone. You can make a lot of, trial and errors on your own, but why not take the fast track? And people who have spent money on coaching and network marketing, your coach is your upline. So that's kind of built in. And the coaches that I train make more money than they spend with me. And that's the way it should be. There's a research survey that I think it shows that executive coaches make an average of 7 times more than they spend. An average. They make that back in their income. So I see good coaching as a very good investment.
So you have the real conversations method that you created. Can you explain to the audience what is that and why is it so helpful?
Yeah, that's one of my tools that I actually have in that. I've come up with 30 mindset keys for coaches and all entrepreneurs, network marketers too. 30 mindset keys proven to effortlessly attract your ideal clients and customers. So within that is not only the mindset stuff, but also the Always Get a Yes book is in there, and also my real conversations method. And that is that you uncover the blocks that are in your mindset, in your subconscious, in your feelings and in your beliefs, negative feelings, negative beliefs. You uncover that. You see, what am I feeling and what am I needing here? And when you meet that need, then the problem goes away. The problem could be low self-esteem. It could be not thinking I don't deserve this. It could be fear of rejection, fear of no. And so we uncover the real conversations with yourself, I call with your inner child, uncovers your feelings about that. If I was scared or real shy and I didn't want to go door-to-door marketing or didn't want to tell people that I was in network marketing because I was scared they'd judge me about that or think it was bad business, my feeling might be embarrassment or shame, and my need might be to validate the business of network marketing, to validate the respectability of it. Because what is it except selling a product or service and training other people to do the same thing? It's just that simple. It's not a bad word or anything like that. So if I thought it was, or was scared people would think that I was bad for being in it, then my need would be to respect the profession and find all the respectable people that I know that are in it. So real conversations helps with fear of rejection, of judgment, of criticism, thinking maybe I don't deserve to be successful. Like one man I worked with, his father told him, when he was little, "Oh, you can't do that. You'll never amount to anything. You'll never succeed." So unconsciously, he carried that with him. And whenever he would start succeeding in his own business, he would have a car accident about once a year that would knock him down to the ground again, and he'd have to recuperate, start building his business again, have another car accident. Because funny enough, our inner child wants to be loyal to our parents and what they taught us, still trying to get mom and dad's love. And so we learned to reparent that inner child with real conversations. What this person needed was to validate himself and his worth and his abilities. And he did that, and he never had another car accident.
So you're talking about people's beliefs is a big factor in people's success. I've now worked with a lot of coaches and network marketers. What are some of the top, mindset beliefs that people have that are holding themselves back from being successful?
Wow, what a good question. I think that it's worthiness, like this man that I described, which holds them back. I'd say that it could all boil down to that, not thinking it's possible or that I could have it, or sometimes they think they need to push. And so those are the two opposite things, right? If I need to push my business on people or make these big claims, or if I give up, try a few spotty, like you said, spotty things, and then doesn't work. Oh, I'm going to give up. So those are the two things, sort of too hard and too soft. And there's something in between where there's a middle road and there's a balance of those small, consistent steps. And we follow the energy and we listen to people. We listen to what they need. We speak into that. We speak to their values and their needs. And that's service. When you keep doing that consistently, then you will be successful. And did you know that the word sales means service? It comes from a Norwegian word, selje, S-E-L-J-E, which means service. And so sales is not a pushy thing or a bad thing for some people. I'm not a salesman. I couldn't do that. I couldn't force myself on people, talk people into stuff. But when we do it right, it's an act of service. And like I was mentioning, listening to what people need and then showing how they can meet that need.
So I want to ask you about that. I mean, so you're talking about people's beliefs. So, and you mentioned earlier on about like the people's childhood, like how does people's early childhood impact, who they are today? Is there really any connection?
Absolutely. And that's what the doctors are all saying now too. They said most diseases come from stress, and most stress comes from early childhood trauma. That's what doctors are saying right now. And one lady who did inner child work with me, because that's another description of my work, she said, before I did this work, I had a lot of diseases. I started doing inner child work and they all went away. Why? Because everybody has trauma in their childhood. It could be that you've moved a lot, your parents got divorced, or your parents were dysfunctional, or, drunk or gone or mad or something, but we all have trauma in our childhood that carries forward to today until we heal it and we reparent that inner child that was still hurting from back then. I see people walking around all the time and I can see their inner child. And I have so much compassion, and some of them end up working with me and overcoming that and becoming bright, shining lights. Like one coach was bullied as a child, and someone came to her to work on that with their son, and it triggered her. So we did the work to reparent and heal her inner child that was still hurting from the bullying. And now she can work with anybody, and she's free, and she looks young. She looks like a child herself. So this happens with network marketers and coaches. Say that you run into disappointment in your business. You get discouraged and run into disappointment and feel like quitting. We can trace that back to see where that came from. Maybe your mother or father was a role model for quitting for you, but you don't have to do what they did. You don't have to be loyal to them. Sometimes their inner child does not want to outdo mom and dad because we're still trying to get their love. So we be faithful to what they showed us and taught us. So we learn to forgive and let go of those mom and dad and reparent our own inner child better. And it will give ourselves permission to succeed.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, it shows like how much of a skilled coach you are, be able to help other coaches, figure out and heal their own inner child issues. But I find that a lot of people in general, they talk about things but don't follow through. Like, for example, I was speaking to a coach about a week ago where she said she was going to write a book, but she's been saying the same thing for like over 10 years, and she still hasn't started. Like, why do you think the way people procrastinate about, doing things, especially when it comes to being an entrepreneur, having their own business? A lot of people have jobs. Oh, one day I'll have my own business. They don't follow through. They still stuck at their job, or maybe they started the entrepreneurship, but they just kind of dabble on it. They don't really go all the way.
Yeah. There's a wonderful inner child teacher named John Bradshaw who has passed away now, but you can still find his books and videos and DVDs and everything online. And he describes this. He says, people sometimes have that perfectionistic pattern that if I finish the book, and they'd say, oh, I'm working on the book. But if they finish it, then somebody can judge it as not being perfect. And they're scared of that, of being judged. So they never finish the thing, or they never go all the way for the thing because they don't want to prove that they're imperfect or have somebody look at them and say, you didn't do very good, did you? Or they have that perfectionist syndrome hanging over their head. They have to do it perfect. And that can definitely come from childhood too. Like, I was I was an A- average student, and I was worried that I was an A+ when I was little. I was, hard on myself or heavy on myself. And now I don't care what people think, because if I do, I'm going to be being disloyal to my own joy. That's more important to me now, to explore who I am, be who I am, and be happy, more than try to fit a certain mold or something. So why do people procrastinate? Why do they put it off? Fear, sometimes, of failure, or fear of success. If I'm more successful than my parents, they won't love me anymore. It's subconscious. Probably not really, but there's that fear. Better not outdo mom and dad. Or if I outdo my best friends, my friends will leave me. If I become a millionaire and they're not, then we won't be friends anymore. Or they'll think that I'm stuck up or snobbish or rich, or scared of failing. Yeah, scared to try a business and really try, because I'm scared that. But there is no failure. All there is just learning. You either win or you learn. There really is no failure.
That's true. So, I mean, what are some signs that somebody may be self-sabotaging, their own success and being an entrepreneur?
The procrastination that you spoke of, pushing. If somebody, this is a true story. I belonged to a gym. I was a network marketer. And, I'm telling everybody at the gym about my business and all this stuff. And one lady in the locker room one day, she said to me, she says, all you talk about is your business. In other words, I didn't ask her how she was. I didn't care, how her workout went, how her family was doing. I didn't ask. And it's all about me and my business. Well, that set me back big time. Thank goodness she was so honest, but that just shocked me. So being so wrapped up in myself and not interested in other people. And that's one reason my Always Get a Yes book takes the opposite approach. You ask interested questions, at least the empathy part of that book. You ask interested questions about people. It's all about them. It needs to be about them. Other ways they sabotage, the giving up, procrastination, or quitting too soon, too high of expectations, negative thinking. I don't deserve this. I can never do this. This can't happen for me. That person can, be a 6 or 7 figure earner, but I can't. I come from whatever my reason, because I'm too young. I worked with clients. I'm too young. Worked with clients that I'm too old. Worked with clients. I'm from another country. We don't get good internet there. So whatever the reason, they don't believe that it can be for them.
So you may share a story of how you've done marketing for yourself or like your coaching business and successful, so we can better understand, how effective your methods are.
Yeah. So I'll take, I did network marketing full-time for a few years. So I'll tell a coaching story here. I've been coaching for over 35 years, even before they were called coaches. And back then we called ourselves holistic health practitioners. And I was a head teacher at Body Mind College for 15 years here in San Diego, training holistic health practitioners. Then it was sort of became, okay, now we're coaches. But so I've been doing this a long time and marketing myself, self-employed all that time along the way. Last year, I enrolled in a school and I did all the master classes and funnels and all this stuff, and I wasn't getting any clients from that, even though I was working very hard. I was trying a new way, and okay, this is going to be only 4 people and everything. So I was working very hard, more than full time, very hard on all this. And I burned out twice and I was getting no new clients. I had existing clients or clients from referrals from the past, but I was getting no new clients for 5 months. I thought, what is going on here? Now I can see that I was pushing myself too much. And so that energy carries through. People can feel it. It's invisible energy. People can feel it. But I said, what is happening? This hasn't happened before. So I sat down, I did my spiritual work about it, and I actually inwardly downloaded, excuse me, I downloaded 30 keys, 30 mindset keys that I could do better, that I saw that I was doing wrong. And I wrote all these down and I began to practice some, and bingo, I catapulted into an $11,000 month. I thought, these work. Let me write them down. And there were actually about 50, but I sort of condensed it into 30 to not overwhelm people. So there's these 30 keys. And I knew I had to share it with people. But before I jumped into that $11,000 a month, I felt scared. I wondered if I should get a job because I was starting to spend my savings on bills. And I thought, now I know how other people feel that are getting clients. So I got to really know what that was like. I think spiritually, maybe that's one reason it happened. So I could stand in their shoes and be able to speak to them. And I could speak to that. It was scary, And like when you do a master class and you don't get any clients from that, and you do another one, then it starts to reinforce, this isn't going to work. There it is again. It's not working again and again. And then there's a spiraling downward into this quicksand of our negative thinking. So negative thinking generates more negative thinking and more negative thinking. So that's why I had to really be strong. I had to turn this around and think positive. So I got coached, which I thought I should be beyond that. I should know all this stuff. Why should I I'm beyond that, But every coach needs a coach because we all have blind spots. So I got coached and I stayed positive. I watched my thoughts. And I practiced something called the inner invitation. Would you like to hear it? It's a great.
Yeah, please.
It's really cool. Okay. So what you do is you write out your ideal client, who they would be. You've heard people doing this for mates before, right? Your ideal mate. Write out your ideal client. What age, gender, location, occupation they might have, and what type of people are they? I wrote mine. I want to be grateful. I want them to be ready to grow, ready to do coaching work. And I want them to be dependable and responsible and all that, not show up for coaching sessions and stuff. So I wrote all this out. And then I did an inner invitation, which is just sit down and sort of go into a meditative state and say, whoever is there that, anyway, you invite your ideal client to work with you, to find you and work with you. And that worked for me. That was part of that $11,000 a month. And I originally did this technique way back when I was also doing massage, and I was still in school at that school, McCarty's College, which is a 2-year college, and to become a holistic health practitioner. And I remember I had the summer break. I had 3 months off. And I said, okay, I know I sent out to the universe that I didn't have time for clients before that, but now I have this 3-month break now out of school. So I said, okay, I'd like to work with clients during these 3 months. And I started getting all my marketing materials together and business cards and a list of all the bulletin boards in town where I was going to go put my posters and my business cards. I thought, wait a minute, Bess, you know the inner invitation. Let me first, before I do all this stuff, first things first, sit down and put out this inner invitation to whoever, I just said, whoever's out there that needs what I have to give, let's find each other. So we can work together. And right away, my phone started ringing off the hook. I did not have time to go out and put all my marketing stuff into action. Whoa. So that's what I remembered to do again last year. And it worked right away again. And I know one lady, she tried the inner invitation, and within minutes, a new client called her up. And she goes, whoa, you really can call in your clients. And another lady, 3 clients in 3 days when she used these principles. And another coaching student from way back at McCarty's College, we've known each other. Then she bought my e-course, which is 30 Keys to Effortlessly Attract Your Ideal Clients. It's an e-course that you can get. And she bought that. And the same day she got a client. And then another coach worked with me using these principles, and she's a chiropractor. She wanted to increase her practice by 30% or something. That happened within the first week, right away. So everyone who's been working with me has had results with this, although it's different for everybody. But I put out that e-course. Anyone can get it. It's $247, and it comes with a guarantee because I'm tired of people not making their ROIs back. If you don't make $2,000 with these principles, you get your money back. So individual,
it's amazing.
risk for people. And then when they make the $2,000, they can then get into my group coaching program, which helps them to make more money. So I am so adamant about the mindset and how it works, and about people taking no risk to be able to take their stair steps to build their practice or business. And these 30 keys apply to coaches or network marketers. And those 30 keys product contains the Always Get a Yes book and contains the Real Conversations method and contains something else. It contains inner guidance and inner guidance classes, some free inner guidance classes. Because I just wanted to point out that I've now shared with you 3 things. There's the skills, the Always Get a Yes book, that's 20% of success is skills. And then shared with you the mindset products, the 30 keys, to make sure you're not thinking negatively and that you're thinking about service and how to turn that around. And do the inner invitation. That's all in there. So that's mindset. That's 80% of success. That not all things work for everybody. We're all individuals. And the ultimate best business asset that I could ever share with you is your own inner guidance. I have a $1 billion mentor named Allie Brown, who said her spiritual time every morning is her most important to her business of anything. And that's where she gets her best business ideas, during the spiritual time. And that's why I love my mornings, because I get all these ideas come in, and you can ask, what's the best step for me at this time? What's my best next step? I love inner guidance so much. It's the favorite thing about my life, and it can affect our work, our health, our relationships, our spiritual fulfillment. And so I started a class 3 years ago. We have a monthly class every first Thursday of the month where we get together and we tell each other stories, true stories from our lives that month. Inner guidance, cool things that happen that can give you chills. Some are real intense. Some save people's lives by listening to their inner guidance. So we tell each other stories, and we have a theme every month of different tips how to access your inner guidance. And you can come to those classes for free. They are at my website, bessmccarty.com/inner for inner guidance. And by the way, those 30 keys, they are a product for sale, but you can get the first 5 keys for free. Again, at my site, bessmccarty.com/5, the numeral 5 clients. bessmccarty.com, numeral 5 clients. So these are ways that I hope can start you to take advantage and get the ball rolling about each of these 3 things I talked about: skills, the mindset, and the inner guidance.
So I just wanted to be clear, like if someone had a question from our conversation today or they're interested in working with you, is the best way to reach out to you through your website?
Yeah, they can just go to bessmccarty.com, and right there on the front top, anyone can get a complimentary coaching session. You can book it right there. Thank you for asking that.
Definitely. And was there any final messages you like to share before we wrap up our conversation today?
Your dream is divinely given to you. If you have a dream or a reason to do network marketing or to be a coach and give your gifts like this to the world, I just love supporting coaches. There's a way to do it. Even if you're discouraged right now or disappointed, keep your dream and find the way. I'd be glad to help you find that. Get on one of those complimentary sessions where we'll find where you want to go and what you need to do that. I just want you to know there is an answer to every problem, and there's a way to every dream. There's a key to every lock. that looks like a solid lock. There's a key to every lock. Trust that and know that and keep going until you find it. I'd love to help you do that. And secondly, I would like to say thank you to you, Daniel. I've been on a lot of interviews and podcasts and stuff, and you are the best interviewer I have ever experienced. You really research, you look into what people are about, and you ask the most thought-provoking and important questions. And this is my second one with you now, and it's been such a treat for me to be here. Thank you for getting the work out that you do and all the important topics that you bring to people, and you change lives.
Oh, Bess, thank you so much for that compliment. That means a lot to me. I try really hard to be a better podcast host. So thank you for your compliment. It was very nice.
Sure.
And you're a wonderful person too. So thank you for being a guest of the podcast, because if you're not wonderful guests, the podcast, I wouldn't be able to make it happen. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing all about your experiences and expertise in network marketing and coaching and marketing. I think a lot of people will get a lot out of this conversation, because there are a lot of people out there who either are a coach or want to be a coach, but they need some marketing help. So it's from an audience, if you are like a coach and you want some help, Bess is one of the best people out there who helps coaches get to the next level, whatever that may be, in terms of their success and getting more clients and making more money. Bess, thank you so much for coming on the show, and best of luck to you in your endeavors.
Thank you, Daniel. You too. To everybody.